The X factor is the differential between your shoulder turn and your hip turn at the top of the backswing. And it's very significant for you because this differential has a lot to do with your power potential. You want to create a large gap between the shoulders and the hips. That doesn't mean you don't turn your hips. For example, if I make a very big shoulder turn, say 100 degrees of shoulder turn, and also turn my hips 60 degrees, which is a pretty good size turn of the hips. Remember, Hogan talked about 90 degrees of shoulder turn and 45 degrees of hip turn. That's a 45-degree sped. This is more shoulder turn and more hip turn, a 40-degree gap, which is very, very big. A 45-degree gap is huge. Not too many people get there, just a few people that we've tested. So that differential, that gap, is very significant in that it creates an explosion going forward. And interestingly, as you go forward, you actually increase the gap. As you start down, your shoulders are turned and the hips start the downswing, and that increases the gap. And also, it expands your potential to hit the ball farther. We call that the X factor stretch, and Dr. Rob Neal is going to talk about that. So, at the top, we're trying to create differential. It's not that you don't turn your hips. If you have a short turn, say 80 degrees of turn, you might have 40 degrees of hip turn. That's still a 40-degree gap, and that's a very powerful type of turn. A weak turn would be a turn where you turn your hips and your shoulders in tandem, both of them back together. You might get 90 degrees of shoulder turn, but 80 degrees of hip turn, giving you only a 10-degree gap. That's a very weak turn. It's a big one, but it's very weak. So remember, we're trying to create differential between the shoulders and the hips, increase it with the move down, and really power through the golf ball.